we're back. Have you ever been awakened by things that go bump in the night and wondered to yourself, what the heck was that? Well, with me are two gentlemen who have some similar experiences. I want to introduce them. On my right here is Alan Hunn, and on my far right is Mr. Ira Lunt. Maybe we ought to first begin by me asking you, Mr. Hunn, where do you live? You live down in Dover, correct?
Yeah, just outside of Dover.
Okay,
yeah.
And you live in a large old farmhouse, is it?
Right, old ancestral home.
Okay, and how old?
240 years, the house is.
Okay, and Mr. Lunt, you live in Newcastle.
In Old Newcastle, right.
Okay.
Also an ancestral home, and we're only 109 years old.
Okay. Why don't I first begin with talking with you, Mr. Hunn? Why don't you tell me about your experience with something that you saw?
Well, in my case, I've had several experiences, and you don't really see them. It's a feeling, a thing. Here, you can hear them. And I guess everybody by now has heard the story of Aunt Lydia.
Why don't you tell us? First of all, where did she get the name Aunt Lydia?
Well, she's actually my grandmother, great-grandmother. And whoever started this story was her aunt. Now, whoever started the story, I don't know. So the name just came down as Aunt Lydia, which is easier to handle than great-grandmother, you know. And so she occupies the stairs in our house. And the story goes that she's there because she was coming down the stairs one evening years ago carrying a kerosene lamp, and for some reason or other the lamp went out. And her long flowing nightgown they wore in those days, she panicked a little bit, tripped, fell down and broke her neck. So her spirit has been on the stairway ever since. And because she's lonely.
Do you talk to her? Make her feel more at home?
But sure, but mostly she talks to me, or us.
What does she say?
Well, you don't say things exactly. It's just she wants some reassurance, and she's trying to reassure me, because being a family home and an ancestral home, and she being an ancestor, of course, I honestly believe that she's concerned about what's becoming of the place. And she's making sure I do right. Keeps me pretty straight.
You haven't noticed any taps on your back or anything, have you?
Yes, but not from her.
Mr. Lunt, I know you have an experience to tell us. So.
Well, of course, I'm married with 4 children in the house. And our spirit, or ghost, whatever you want to call it, is a little bit more mischievous. We don't get a chance to see them or interview them or talk to them at all, but we hear them every once in a while. And one of them, if I could tape record what we hear and then play it back for you with no introduction, just ask you, what did you just hear? I'm convinced that you would identify it also of a running child. The sounds of a small child, I'd say 5, 6 years old, running from one room to another on the second floor, on the hardwood floors. And the first time it happened to me, I was home, quote, babysitting my children. I thought one of the kids had gotten out of bed. I went upstairs to check. They're all asleep. They're playing games with me. I went down. A little while later, I heard it again. And again, I went up to check, but all the children were asleep. Another time it occurred, my wife was with me. We have 2 staircases, a front and a back. She went up one, I went up the other to head off the little Indian. All 4 children are sound asleep. So my wife and I both heard the same thing at different times.
Isn't it creepy? I mean, doesn't it drive you crazy living in a house where you're hearing things, or you're
Oh no, you're speaking to me.
Well, to both of you. I mean, the question is directed to both of you.
No, I don't think it's creepy. It's just something you live with. It's fun in a way.
Sure.
Sure.
We're here.
That's right. Yeah. And it's like if you're home alone, you're never lonely. It's always,
well, I guess that's one way to look at it.
Sure.
Huh?
There's always something there to keep you occupied.
And like I say, it's ours is mischievous, and nothing bad has happened. We just enjoy sort of telling the stories about it.
Sure.
The kids don't get scared?
No. Well, visitors do. Not our children. No, we've had children, grew up there. And they're kind of proud of it. They're still telling stories about it as far away as Atlanta, Georgia.
When the visitors have been at your home, have they encountered these spirits or?
Yes, and it's very interesting too. It gives you a good selection of people.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them don't come back, you know.
I tell you what, I don't think I'd come back either, Mr.
But ours is a little bit more selective, I think. He sticks with the family.
Well, I tell you, that's nice to hear. I mean, it's nice to hear that you're not worrying about your china flying across the.
Oh no, this is where they blow it all out of proportion, I think. Yeah.
No, we have no phenomenon like this.
These are kind ghosts.
Right.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Very nice. A lot of fun.
Well, listen, I hope that you go on and these ghosts continue to be friends, and you don't have anything else.
I do too.
Really outlandish happen to you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I hope they stay friendly.
Yeah.
Listen, I've enjoyed talking and chatting with both of you.
Our pleasure.
Okay? And when we come right back, Bob will be talking a little bit more about Delaware ghosts, so stay with us.
Over there. See, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
With my daddy.
With my daddy.
Okay, now say it real loud. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
With my daddy.
With my daddy.
Give me a kiss.